We're going to talk about the nightmares that are a result of you making the wrong decision as a landlord. So I'm sitting here with Ruth Lyons, right? We're both landlords, and we all have them. And I bet you my stories are worse than yours. I don't know.
I'm living my worst story right now,
Yeah.
which is a tenant who, a family, they were very desperate to find a place. Christian family, I let them in. We actually did a rent to own, because at that time they didn't have money for a down payment. So they did a rent to own, but the problem is that they weren't paying the rent. Over and over, I gave them chance after chance to the expense.
Try to find the good in people.
Yeah, I was trying to find the good.
Right.
And compassion, they had a baby and all that.
What's it going to cost you? Well, first, how long have they lived in the house?
They moved in a year ago.
Okay.
They've been there 12. This is the 12th month.
12-month lease.
It actually was a 3-year lease.
A 3-year lease.
Because they were going to buy with a right of purchase.
Right.
To buy the property at the end of 3 years.
Yeah.
Well, it became a problem pretty early on. They were good until March, and then I didn't get rent. And then April came around. You get this excuses. You get that, and I really trusted that they would turn it around. I let it go way too long. All in, I'm like $12,000 out.
Wow, $12,000, and that's so far. They're not even out yet.
They're out. They'll be out, yes, but
they're not out yet.
No.
Right, so $12,000, and then you don't have no idea what you need to do when you go in there.
I do have an idea because I've kept real.
Is that part of the $12,000?
No, that's another $1,000.
It's going to cost you $20,000.
No, not
I
quite
don't know.
that much,
By the time you go in there and you repaint and replace floors and things like that, if you have to do any of that stuff.
Well, I've been there quite often, and it is in really good shape.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of things I saw they did to the wall, but other than that, it should be. I mean, I had renovated this place completely, so it is. So everything's new.
It's important that you pick the right tenant. I had a situation one time in one of mine where, I could tell you numerous stories, but I'll just give you a couple examples. One time I had a lady that moved in, and she was actually she was in the correctional system and had a great job, and you really just knew how to work the system. And she came in, gave me a month secure deposit and the first month's rent, and never paid anything after that. Yeah, so anybody, part of the lease, anyone over the age of 18 has to be on the lease. And part of the consideration to be there, right, as far as accepting them. Well, this person actually had 4 other adults living in a 2-bedroom that was supposed to be just her. And one of the adults was her working boyfriend or fiance. And that it took me 9 months to get them out.
Right.
So, and when they left, I had to spend thousands of dollars I had to go in and do all those cosmetic repairs. So I had to replace a couple of appliances that they didn't take care of. I had to replace the carpeting. I had to repaint, things like that. I can tell you another situation where I actually had a woman and her young child, and she moved in her boyfriend, and they stopped paying rent and really became a nuisance in a 4-unit building. And when they left, they were actually urinating and literally crapping all over the place.
Wow.
It was really disgusting. And I mean, I couldn't even really walk in there. But the worst part about it is every door was broken. So, there was a lot of violence going on. I mean, there were holes in the walls, holes in the doors, and that cost me like $10,000 or $12,000 to go in and do those repairs. So, I got to tell you, it's great to have rentals, and you can make a lot of money doing it, but, you have to. If you don't want to be part of those nightmares, tenant placement is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
You're better off having a place sit vacant than anything else. But I always believe if you get a good tenant in there and those numbers work and you're locked in at a decent loan where you're not really going to have a lot of variables, I never raise my rent. So I have people that are in my properties 10, 12, 15 years, and they're literally great tenants doing a great job treating my property like it's their home. And I actually reward them as much as I can.
Yeah,
so and really make sure that I'm attentive to their needs. And so that's my advice for you if you want to be in the rental business.